You probably don't know me, but odds are you feel bad for me. You see, I'm Prospector's wife, Tara. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that poor woman. The truth is, he's the sweetest guy. Most of the time. But when he starts rambling, yeah, you have no idea. It's actually far worse than you can imagine. Here's a little taste of my world. It's time for Prospector's Picky Pet Peeves on Rock 107.
People who use there, and there like word lottery. Social media comment sections are full of people guessing which there to use, and it's like a slot machine. I actually read this sentence the other day. There, THEY''RE, dog is over there, THEIR, playing with their THERE toy. That sentence gave me a migraine and made me lose respect for humanity in the same breath.
Really?
The guy who parks diagonally through spots in a parking lot. This hero shows up in his lifted pickup truck, parks like he's pulling into a drive-thru and takes up 2 spots. Now I got to park 3 miles away just because Chad needed room to breathe. Thanks, bro. I hope a flock of pigeons use your windshield as a target practice range.
Seriously?
And people who say for all intensive purposes. No, it's intents and purposes. Intense. Unless your purposes involve setting things on fire and running through a battlefield, your purposes are not intensive. You sound like you're one copy away from writing a legal contract on a bar napkin.
Nobody cares. You think that was bad? Try living with him. Love you, honey. Mean it.
Breaking the news that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Tax day is today. Tax day always falls on April 15th unless it's a weekend, a holiday, or you're Wesley Snipes. David and Victoria Beckham's sons are feuding. Boys, let me resolve this. You're both worthless Nepo babies. A cop in England dressed like Batman for a sting. Despite being old and fat and English, he still made a better Batman than Ben Affleck.
Prospector ruins everything, even the news. Tune in tomorrow for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Northeast PA's Classic Rock, the station that wants to send you to the Caribbean or Caribbean all through stickers. If all that last-minute tax prep has make you work up an appetite, well, we might have something to help. It's Prospector Show on Rock 107. Kate, a bunch of national chains have deals to help take that sting out of tax day. So what are some of the great ones?
Well, Krispy Kreme has a buy one, get one deal. Buy a dozen donuts, and you'll only pay sales tax for the second dozen of their original glaze.
The original glazed donuts are the best donuts in the world that Krispy Kreme makes. They're fantastic. I think that's a great deal. Burger King, 1-cent cheeseburgers. Now, you have to have a couple of things here. You have to be a Royal Perks member, and you have to order through their app. You get one cheeseburger for a penny if you spend at least $1 elsewhere in the app. That's actually a good deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If you're headed to NYC, Philly, or the NY Thruway, Shake Shack has free black truffle burgers with promo code Truffle Tax.
Now, I love Shake Shack. I've never had the black truffle, though, so I don't know.
It is quite good.
Okay.
You have to spend at least $10.40, as in the 1040 tax.
Yeah,
forms.
that makes sense. And since I still think there's some in Jim Thorpe and Hazleton at 105.9 territory, and I'm sure there's one in Bloomsburg, too, at 107.7 territory, 7-Eleven has a delivery deal. The code write-off gets you $10.40 off delivery through their app if you spend at least $20.
Might as well save some green if you're filing this late. Chances are you waited because you're not anticipating a refund.
I'm still waiting for your receipts. I wish you'd hurry up, I need some sleep. 'Cause I'm your tax guy, filing all your little white lies. Now you complain you pay too much. Tax guy, 'cause you pay more than Elon Musk. Tax guy, have you changed?
You're wasting food and money, but it seems to be what the food companies want. Good morning, it's Prospector Show on Rock 107. Kate, I saw this on Channel 16 during the 5 o'clock news yesterday.
Was it the story about how much food we waste and how confusing the food labels contribute to the issue?
Absolutely it was. Currently we have best buy, use by, sell by, but often those labels really have nothing to do with food safety.
All right, so let's clarify. Best buy indicates the quality.
Okay.
Use by, last date recommended for best quality, not a safety date.
Okay, seems a little redundant to the other one, sure.
And sell by last date, the manufacturer wants the item displayed.
Now, California's got a new law that helps combat this confusion, but many other states, including our beloved Keystone State, do not.
So we waste about 31% of the food that we buy.
I fear at Casa de Prospector, it is much more than that.
My wife is a big tosser. I've tried pleading that sell-by dates don't mean to toss, but to no avail. So let's see if this convinces her. We're going to get her on the phone here. Talk to her about this stuff, see what she thinks. See if I can convince her to not throw things away immediately.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, Tara. How are you?
Good.
Let's talk about food and sell-by dates. Would you describe yourself as lackadaisical with sell-by dates or very, very, very rigid with sell-by dates?
Very, very, very rigid.
Now, why is that?
I don't know. I just don't want to get sick from anything.
So you think that's what's going to happen if you eat something that's like a day or two past the sell-by date?
I don't know. I just won't eat it.
So you're just not taking any chances with this, right?
No, not at all.
What if I told you that sell-bys and expirations are put there by the people who make the food and not by any kind of government agency? Does that change things?
Nope.
Really? Why not?
Because it's there and I'm going to pay attention to it.
So you're just scared to death of getting sick if you have a piece of bread that's past the sell-by date, right?
Right.
How about milk?
Oh, never.
But see, with milk, you can smell it. You'll smell it. You go, and then you'll know if it's good or not.
Nope, never.
Look, California even has a new law, no more sell-by dates. Best if used by for quality, used by for safety. That's what we need.
Because too many people toss away food. Can we stop throwing away freaking milk and bread every week?
Nope.
You know how much money we're wasting?
I don't care.
All right, then here, I have a new plan. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Everything we throw away, I'm going to measure it. And whatever percentage is left, you're going to pay me that percentage before we throw it away.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I don't think so.
If there's half a carton of milk left, you're paying me half the price of that before we chuck it. Same thing with a loaf of bread.
No, I'm not.
We got to save money somewhere here, kid. It's a tough economy.
Oh, well.
So I haven't convinced you at all.
Nope.
All right, tosser. I guess we're going to continue to throw food away.
Yes, we are.
We're the worst.
Yet another weird situation Prospector handled in his own special way.
He's a jerk.
It's time for Prospector's weekly lesson in manners. Am I a jerk? On Rock 107.
Actually, I've been a nice guy this week, maybe turning over a new leaf, done nothing jerky to report, but I did read a story about a woman in line at a bakery, overweight woman. The woman behind her said, I hope there's some cupcakes left after Fatty gets finished. She heard that, was hurt by it, rightfully so. Went to the counter, asked the lady behind the counter how many cupcakes they had left in the shop. Bought them all out just to spite the woman behind her. I love that. That's what I want to know. That's what we want to know this morning, right, Kate? We want to know, what did you do just to be a jerk?
What did you do? We want to hear it.
Just to be a jerk. Steve on the Rock Lines, what'd you do just to be a jerk?
I was at the Lowe's in Edwardsville, and they had that Dominic's food truck thing outside.
Yeah.
And this guy had a full cart full of stuff, and he put it in his truck, and then he shot the cart across the parking lot to try and get in the cart corral thing, and it missed. And it went across the side of my truck. So I grabbed his cart, and I went over, and I zip-tied it to his truck.
Did you really do that?
Yeah, because he went from his truck over to the food court. While I was at the food court, I went over with his cart, and I zip-tied it to his front door and his back passenger door.
There you have it. Just to be a jerk.
Got to start carrying zip ties. Lola from your Facebook said, years ago, there was a shoe sale. A woman and I both grabbed a single shoe at the same time, the size 5, both from the box. So she had one and I had the other. I looked down at her feet and she looked to be an 8 or larger. I waited for her to put the shoe back on the rack, which she didn't. So I walked around with the shoe for like 25 minutes. Hey, if I couldn't purchase them, neither could she.
Just to be a jerk.
Mike from your Twitter said, I was going to parallel park, but the guy behind me pulled up so far I couldn't back in. So I put my car in park and walked into the place I needed to do business in.
All right, got one on open mic. What'd you do just to be a jerk?
I had a neighbor take a parking spot that I shoveled out, and when I questioned him on it, he told me to F off. So he ended up with 4 nails under his tires. He took his car for a ride, came back and parked it in the spot, ended up with 4 flat tires, and the car remained there for months.
That's the part that gets me, months to get those flats fixed.
Yeah, that's aggressive. Dan from our TikTok said, I don't recall how, but the person behind me ticked me off in the deli line, but there was only one person working. So I just kept ordering random meats and cheeses just so the person behind me had to keep waiting.
Okay, that's a good one. That's being a jerk.
Renee from your Instagram said, refused to back out of a parking spot when a person waiting started beeping their horn and gesturing for me to hurry up.
That stuff never works. A lot of people do it. Taylor from Mount Pocono on the Rock Lines. What'd you do just to be a jerk?
Hey, Prospector.
Yo.
Just on Friday,
Yeah.
I was on my way home from work, and I got off the highway. The guy in front of me was doing like 30 miles an hour, so I got in the left lane, set my cruise control, and out of nowhere he starts passing me, so I made sure I sped up, and the light ahead was red, and there was a car in front of him in his lane. Went through there, and then the lanes merged a couple miles up, and I looked behind me, he's not there. All of a sudden he's come up behind me at like 100 miles an hour. So I sped up a little bit and got right in between the two lanes, right where it merged, and didn't let him pass me.
Just to be a jerk.
Absolutely.
And TR from our TikTok said, UPS driver looked right at me and left his truck blocking the alley as I was going to pick up my wife from work. He didn't want to use the loading dock, so I left my car there and walked to my wife's work. And as we walked out in time to watch him back up the entire length of the alley, I waved to him.
Just to be a jerk.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
An 80-year-old woman with Alzheimer's is walking across the United States to raise awareness for how much of a difference lifestyle changes can make. Her name's Judy Benjamin, and she's got lots of people helping her. She's confident she can make the trip. She was diagnosed 13 years ago, but says she's doing better at 80 than she was at 67. She credits diet and exercise for the transformation. You can track her progress at judywalks.com.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107. Ladies and gentlemen, grab the kids, call your neighbors, and gather around the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Jam Bag of the Day, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds. Nominee number 1.
It's hard to come up with something ridiculous that hasn't occurred at a Walmart, especially now that this has happened. 4 people in Louisiana have been arrested after they rode horses through a Walmart last week. It seems like it was just a stunt for 15 minutes of online fame. One of the 4 men, Mason Webb, told the local news, "I mean, it was fun. We're famous. That's all. We didn't want to hurt anybody." He also joked that the animals were, quote, emotional support horses because in certain situations, people can take their dogs and other animals inside. The police, though, didn't think it was funny. Mason and the other riders are looking at charges of disturbing the peace by violent and tumultuous manner and unlawful posting of criminal activity for notoriety and publicity. At least one of the riders was a kid, so they're also not the best role models.
Nominee number 2.
Talk about a job interview gone wrong. John Connaughton, 51 years old, walked into a store called Doors, Molding and More, hoping for an interview. When staff turned him down, he didn't take it lightly. Instead, he allegedly unleashed a disgusting tantrum, chucking multiple bottles filled with his own urine through the store's entrance. The foul projectiles splattered the merchandise, causing over $1,000 in damage, and hit an employee's bare legs. Shocked workers watched as Connaughton bolted, but employees gave chase. Things escalated when he reportedly raised a skateboard, threatening to strike. Police nabbed him soon after. Connaughton now faces felony battery, criminal mischief, and aggravated assault charges.
And the winner is
the guy who hurled bottles of his own urine into a store after they wouldn't hire him. You're the Yam Bag of the Day, and we'll move on to Friday's Yam Bag of the Week competition. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107.
Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app, a free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.